at this particular store?
Only a year.
So this is all during COVID?
Yeah.
What form does this take? Tell me what happens to you.
It's verbal abuse, physical abuse. I've been spat. It's wonderful.
What do people, I mean, don't repeat it exactly. What is it that people are angry
about? Generally services and a lot of requirements stuff and face masks. If you ask people about face masks, they say they'll think those down on the table and know what they don't know. Like there's face masks a lot of different things, but there is no backup. I don't see any backup at all. That's the problem. Everyone knows backup. As a shop owner, there is no backup. It's very easy to report the employees. When a gentleman spat in my face, we reported the employee. He came out, took a statement, and that was it. And that was 6 months ago. And I just find it absolutely ridiculous.
How does that make you feel?
Horrible. I'd rather go back to doing door work than being a shop worker. It's horrible.
What are the public like generally? I mean, obviously not everyone's
I'd say 80% of the people are really, really nice. And yeah, they are generally wary. You do get people who complain that people are not wearing masks. Not taking the space between people, the 2 metre rule thing and everything else, and there's not anything as a person who's behind us posed. We have these large plastic things around us, and we say to the people, we're sorry, but that's up to the individual person. But there has been fights in certain stores about people not conveying to 2 metre rule or people not wearing masks. But you're also expected to dive in and stop that fight, and I don't find that necessary, really.
What does your wife say about what you go through?
She's been on the news because of the fact that she was the one who told me to go and get a normal job after the fact that I've been stabbed 3 times being a doorman.
What about your employer?
They have no concern.
Wow.
Which is why I won't mention who I work for.
So you've reported, well obviously they must know about the spitting at least.
We've reported it, we've involved the police, disgusting.
Yeah, it's not what's expected of you, certainly shouldn't be.
100%.
We heard from Paddy Lillis and from Tom Holder the argument for separate legislation to try to protect you and your friends and your colleagues is to act as a deterrent. Do you think a new law would have that effect?
In some cases it is beyond this fucking envelope. We need more security.
check-in desk, restaurant or retail outlet. The issue is not legislation. Your last guest confirmed this by saying the current legislation wasn't working. The problem is the lack of enforcement of the current legislation. Without massively increasing police numbers to make legislation better, new laws and negligence reasons, perhaps just highlighting that retail workers are not punching bags and having simple legislation might really help.
between the customers, especially in London where it's a mixed ethnicity. It's a lot harder to manage them.
And would a new law help you, Barney, or as Tony was saying in his text, it's about enforcement?
It may help a little bit, but sometimes we get calls from the police. When we call the police, they may come 3 hours after the incident happened. What they do, they come take the statement, they leave, you never hear anything. And we get to the point, even the police, they say, look, you guys are wasting our time for 30 pounds helping. We as the manager, I'll talk for myself, as the manager, I'm under pressure because my boss will walk in and say, well, you've got so much stock lost, well, you're not protecting us.
specific law would help you. This is from Fahim. I'm a delivery driver with one of the big boys. Every day I'm insulted because I drive at the speed limit. People don't like that. This text says, I rarely agree with the government, but I do think a law change wouldn't address the issue. It's a matter of more police to respond and more pressure on the very wealthy supermarket owners to have more security on. Your caller has reported a number of serious criminal offences that aren't being dealt with by the police, so why would a further law change improve that? And this from Greg. Eddie, since the beginning of the pandemic, I've delivered milk to all the big supermarkets across England. I had to stand in front of 4 supermarket staff when they were under threat of violence. That's from Greg. Trucking milk across England, he says. And finally for now, an email from Gareth. Eddie, I had a successful retail career. I'd worked from shop floor up to regional manager for one of the big 4 supermarkets. Whilst at work, I've been punched, kicked, spat at, had missiles thrown at me, been subjected to racial abuse, I'm Irish, been followed home in the car, and the straw that broke the camel's back, I was in a store when it was subjected to an armed robbery. The result, I don't work in retail anymore. The law needs to change. Let me know how it is for you. 0345 6060973. Now, as promised, the COVID report, all the COVID headlines in one place. Here's LBC's Lindsay Alder.
More than 1 million people booked a vaccine appointment on the NHS website in England yesterday. The record numbers came as COVID jabs were made available to 25 to 29-year-olds, with 100,000 bookings an hour between 7 a.m. and midday. The UK's recorded its highest number of daily COVID cases since the end of February. Officials say there have been another 7,500 confirmed in the latest 24-hour period. There are calls for surge vaccinations in areas where there are high rates of the Delta variant of coronavirus. Greater Manchester's Mayor Andy Burnham says it would help ensure all restrictions can be lifted in England on the 21st of June. Now, surge testing has already started in Greater Manchester and Lancashire. People there are being encouraged to keep travel to a minimum. Everyone over the age of 11 is also being invited to take a PCR test in Kingston in southwest London after the discovery of the Delta variant there too. 90,000 kits will be sent to secondary schools. Wales has recorded no new coronavirus-related deaths for 2 weeks in a row. Public Health Wales figures show it's the first time the milestone's been reached since the start of the pandemic. David Hepburn is a doctor who's been working in intensive care in South Wales. He told LBC it's a huge relief.
There's no ITU patients left with COVID now, so the unit, we've got a selection of patients, but none of them is COVID positive, which means that we don't have to wear multiple layers of PPE. We're just wearing simple masks and pinnies, which is much nicer in the summer.
Passengers on a cruise ship touring the UK have been told they will not be allowed to disembark in Scotland. The ship's operator says passengers weren't allowed to get off the boat in Greenock because of the country's restrictions. Michelle Lister is one of those on board and says everyone's disappointed.
It's just disheartening that we're looking forward to spending a bit of time in different areas in Europe as well, but just for it to be taken away from us so quickly, it's like the announcement 1 minute, the next minute we're trying to go into our own country.
Well, the Scottish Government says domestic cruises can restart when all of Scotland reaches level 1. Labour has called on the UK Government to boost spending to help children in England catch up on lost learning. Education Recovery Czar Sir Kevin Collins resigned, saying funding plans fell far short of what was required. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer's told MPs the decision to hold back is a false economy.
In February, the Prime Minister appoints an expert to come up with a catch-up plan for education. It's a highly respected expert, consults widely, and comes up with a plan. The Treasury balks at it and says we'll only provide 10%, yes, 1/10 what's needed. The Prime Minister rolls over whatever he says, and children lose out.
But Boris Johnson told the Commons the package they're providing is just for starters.
We're now putting another £3 billion into educational catch-up with the biggest tutoring programme anywhere in the world, Mr. Speaker, and it is based on the best evidence that we could find and that Sir Kevin could supply.
And British Airways and Ryanair are both being investigated over whether they broke the law on not offering refunds during the pandemic. Passengers who couldn't travel weren't offered their money back if the flight still ran.
Lindsay Alder. Julie is in Ealing. Julie, welcome to the conversation about retail and safety. You work in retail.
I do. Thanks for having me on. I've worked in retail for around 8 years now, and I've really noticed a huge difference post-pandemic.
Why did you get into retail in the first place?
Honestly, to pay the bills, but once I went into that career, I really enjoyed it. I enjoy meeting lots of different members of the public every day. I enjoy the job that I do. I work part-time.
So what's the last year or so been like?
Oh, it's been awful. I think we've noticed two things really. I felt completely undervalued by management in the last 18 months, just in their responses to our concerns as staff.
Well, tell me. Sorry, I think you were about to tell me. What concerns did you raise, and what was the response?
Sure. So we've gone to area management with concerns around taking cash payments, especially because being in London, we were in a very high-risk area at certain points, especially towards the end of last year. So when we raised concerns around things like customers being given catalogues to look at, so we still have paper catalogues in store, which are handed between us as staff to every customer that walks in that wants to see a catalogue, and then it's back to us to help them find things. We're bringing products back and forward for customers to touch, and then we're putting them straight back onto the shelf. Things like things that customers are returning are just put straight back onto the shelf, ready to sell against the next customer that walks in. Things weren't being quarantined, and yeah, handling cash. We said, is there no way we could go cashless? That wasn't considered as an option. We asked to limit the amount of people in store, to have people queuing outside, and none of our concerns were taken on board. It seemed purely that it was about the money that the company could make. When we suggested going cashless, because we're in a hardware trade, lots of our customers deal in cash because they're builders or they're workers of some kind. Management said if we don't take their cash, they're going to go to our competitors next door.
How did that make you feel?
And not just me, but my colleagues too. We just felt completely not valued, that our health, our well-being wasn't taken seriously by the company at all.
How have the customers been all this time?
Customers, we've definitely noticed an increase in aggression. I've witnessed verbal aggression leading to borderline physical lots of times, and it's definitely worse. I think it's because people are stressed because of the pandemic in their lives, and they see us as retail workers as a soft touch. They can do what they like, they can speak to us how they like, and get away with it. So they can vent their frustrations on us, and they think that's okay.
What do you need?
What do we need? We need more support from management. I know the government's thinking about laws. I think personally, our companies to have the backing of our managers to say this behaviour is not acceptable, and if a customer speaks that way, that customer is banned. That's what we'd like to see. I see racism, I see abuse against women, and the customer's allowed to come straight back in and someone else will serve them. If I refuse to serve a customer, my manager